Hey guys, what's up? This is the Best You Nation. I'm one of your hosts, I'm Adler, and this is Finn.
What's up, guys?
It brings us a great pleasure to have you guys tune in and listen to us and watch us. Just because we have an excellent episode, a lot in store for you today. But first and foremost, Finn, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, Adler. I'm here. I'm present. I'm excited because this is a brand new week, brand new opportunity to be the best version of yourself. We believe that we are focused on that, and we have to implement that in our own daily life. And I'll be honest, I think last week you were talking about how you were kind of like on the tired side, and how you were working on being more energetic. I think this week, it's been a minute since I worked 5 days in a row, and I think when looking back on it, it's nice to work, but you definitely got to catch up on your sleep. But dude, it's been an awesome week. I can't complain. I'm here with you. We're doing another episode. We had a really good off-air conversation about content and really just kind of making sure we're being more proactive about that. So I think there's a lot of things in stock for us.
You know what? We can actually, because I think that transparency creates accountability. Accountability creates excellence, and excellence is found in the consistency. So we can actually have
put a trademark on that.
That's, I mean, hey, it leads it. TM. That's how you do it. So we did have a conversation, and so the conversation, I'm just going to be candid. I want everybody to
no, go for it. We're spill some of the beans, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Basically, we're using not using a new platform, but we're now streaming available on YouTube. And the most important thing is, now you get to see our faces, and hopefully you definitely get to check us out, like and subscribe. But we're trying to produce more.
Wait. It's not just like and subscribe. It's make sure you hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
You can be notified.
Yes, the bell icon, so that way you can be notified when we do drop
It's just so funny because I'm so used to watching YouTubers say that.
Now we have to. Well,
that's sure to hit the bell.
We are brand new YouTubers.
We are brand new.
We're
YouTubers. We're
babies in the game.
Yeah,
we're babies in the game. But we're podcast toddlers, if you think about it. But the most important thing, like what we had on the conversation off air, was just producing more content and being more consistent. And I said between the two of us, we can produce 3 videos a week, and then just make sure that we do it in collaboration with the best brew, and kind of like put ourselves out there.
And 24 hours in a day.
Thank you, 24 hours a day. No,
hey, don't neglect it.
Of course, no. It's definitely always in the forefront of the brain. But we're just gonna hold ourselves a little bit more accountable, like produce more content more consistently. And that's kind of like we're just being transparent, because obviously there's always room for improvement, and we're not perfect. And I think that's part of like the reason why I wanted to share that, is because sometimes like being in this type of platform, people tend to think that you have all the answers and that you have everything all together. And the truth is, no, we're not perfect. We're still trying to figure it out, just like you. The only difference is we strive to be the best versions of ourselves every day. And our challenge that we send out to you is a call to action to find the best version of yourself, and to also be able to execute that in your day-to-day life.
I agree. Well said, man. Well said. I think one of the things that when we could take away from today's conversation, I think at the end of this all, people will have a different perspective on their own life and other people's lives. And this podcast has become more and more developed and much more advanced, I would say that, as we're toddlers in the YouTube world, it's never too late to start. I think we've been kind of talking about YouTube as an opportunity, and we want you guys to have the opportunity to see us live in person. I'm going to share a little fun fact with you guys.
I think we're handsome men, and we would like to share it with the world, and we gotta let us know.
I agree 100%. As a matter of fact, this is my fun fact for you. It's actually I found this out months after Cassandra and I started dating, but Cassandra would listen to our podcast she obviously took in what we were talking about, but she really, really loved when we had the videos, because she wanted to see me. And I didn't know this until a couple months into it.
Because you're handsome.
Let's face it.
It's the rugged good looks that got her. I can tell.
Well, I have never... Actually, that takes us back for a little challenge. Many, I think about a year ago when I went to Tennessee with John, when I went on a trip. this is a complete side note. I remember you challenged me to grow out my beard because I couldn't really hold my hair on my face long. I would get really frustrated, and by the time the end of the month was over, it was gone. I kid you not. I think the last time I actually shaved my beard off was probably a few months ago, just for fun. And here I am with consistent beard.
I want like full like
I'm more
lumberjack. I want full lumberjack. Give me the lumberjack.
Lumberjack.
Man. Yeah.
All right.
Give me the lumberjack.
But I just want to say that we're super grateful for each of you. I know we don't always jump in with a lot of thanks. Well, we say thank you, but we really want to be honest and transparent today. And as this is one of our first times really getting YouTube going, we're just grateful for every single person out here. I think this week I've learned a lot about myself in my work space, interact with patients who are going through a lot of things, and I think it kind of hits me home when I realize why we do the podcast. I share the podcast with pretty much anybody I encounter in the conversation. I always somehow find a way to make it a foundational part of the conversation, and I find that people beam and light up when they hear, oh, you have a podcast. What's the name of your podcast? And then I explain to them what it's about, what we are focused on. And I think that it's very basic when you hear the best you nation. Nation kind of added on when we started expanding worldwide. But the best you is a statement that you can say for yourself. I am the best at being myself. I am the best at so-and-so. I'm working towards being the best. Because being the best is a never-ending thing. It's a continuous situation
It's a consistent journey that we're always going to be on.
Exactly. So we just want to say thank you for everybody who's out there supporting us. The Best You Nation is striving and thriving to reach as many people in the world, to generate an impact on an emotional, spiritual, mental, and even physical, if we talk about adding 24 hours in a day into all of it. We just believe in you, and we believe that this opportunity here with YouTube will definitely open up some serious doors for growth within our own platform, but also for the community, but also even grander on a national and international level. So with that being said, though, I think we have a couple housekeeping things to talk about. And
we're not going to keep you too long because we kind of want to dive into the content.
I'm excited for today's topic.
But what we have in front of us, if you can see us, if I'm not sure if you're watching us on YouTube, but if you're listening to us on audio, we currently have 4 different bags of coffee.
So actually there's 5.
5, okay.
But there's 4 right now in front.
4
there's
currently,
5 coffees.
Yes. Go ahead.
I don't mean to steal the thunder.
No, hey, we share the thunder.
Okay, so this part right here. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you can see. If you're listening to this on the audio version of our podcast, you guys, we want you to know we have the Best Brew Coffee Company. We know that you guys have heard of us. You probably have heard us talk about it, but never in the history of the Best You Nation have we been more excited to announce our coffee and just to let you know we've relaunched our entire brand and the excitement that's behind it, because it's not just about coffee. It's really finding a way to connect with people. And we believe through the core of our podcast and our coffee, we really think that we can connect with people and build a culture. And so what's interesting, we have 4 different coffees. I know there's 5 total. I believe the Mindset, which is this one, I think, right here. Mindset Adler it's kind of hard to see, but it is Rainforest Alliance, which basically means that it's approved and accepted to be one of the cleanest forms of washed coffee and certified as a very premium coffee. It's the Brazilian bean. It comes in medium and dark. So medium, the Mindset one, technically there's a dark roast version of that. And then I believe it's the Finergy. So we have gone with this one. I know you and I had talked about this in the past. Finergy used to be Fantastic Mr. Finn, but it's
we shortened out the name and made it a little bit easier because if you drink this, you're gonna have the energy Finn has.
Oh, and if you know me, you're gonna feel it.
It makes sense. It really does make sense.
But this one comes in the regular medium roast, but it also comes in a medium decaf for those who want decaffeinated coffee. You don't want that super duper boost to get you going cognitively. But most importantly, guys, the greatest thing about this whole project that we've relaunched here is that it's our flagship product. Mm-hmm. It has a lot of health benefits, and they're all from different parts of the world. And not only that,
And I think actually the coolest part about this whole entire process is we collaborated with Axum, and like Axum is our they help distributor, yeah,
partnership.
partner, and with Axum, the name Axum actually comes from
A city in
city,
Ethiopia.
city in Ethiopia, and these guys that run Axum, they do excellent job. They're very much philanthropic. They build a water pipeline for the city of Axum, and so that way they have clean, fresh water. So this not only is our flagship coffee, but it also goes towards a very revolutionary good cause.
Correct.
Like, it's something that affects lives in a good, like, just a good manner, and it has a way of impacting those who are less fortunate, because we have running water here in America, and those people over there, they don't have the same means that we do. But Axum has been able to give them the possibility to have access to fresh water.
Correct.
And for me, that's like the best part, is because it's not about how many bags you sell, it's about how many people you impact along the way.
Correct. So one of these bags, Adler, like, is a bag of impact. I mean, we believe that through our products, our coffee, like, we are proud about our, like, I feel like this is a huge stepping stone within the Best You Nation.
Oh my gosh,
and
sure.
it's gonna go into our topic of discussion today. Like, we're talking about the word impact, and I guess it will make more sense here in a few minutes. But for anybody who's really interested in buying coffee,
where can I buy it?
I was gonna say, so you can go to our website. It's tbynworldwide.com. So what we've done is we've actually meshed all of our podcasts 24 hours in a day, and the coffee company all into one major website. But you're able to go to our website and buy coffee, which, by the way, if you are looking to buy some coffee, there's two things that I want you guys to keep in mind. Number one, all of our beans are supplied from from worldwide level and distributed here locally. So we're a local coffee company, which, by the way, is also not to mention, there are a few things. Number one, if you buy 2 bags of coffee, any of these bags, shipping's free.
Ooh.
Immediately. So
We know, hey, inflation's getting crazy. Shipping's free. That's a big one. That's a big time.
So shipping's free.
So you pay for specifically only just the coffee.
Correct. And not only that, if you are in love with the coffee, so any of these,
which obviously you will be eventually.
Which I think you will,
obviously.
guys. Yeah, we will see. Give it some time. Good things take time. So we believe that you guys will start seeing this. You'll see our brand. But on the back here, we have a back sticker, which I'm really excited about, because I know that was something that we had talked about. There is a QR code in the bottom right corner that allows you to restock on your beans. What does that mean? Well, when you scan that QR code, you're going to be able to go directly to our website, and you will be able to see all of these beans. So with that being said, guys, I don't want to go too far into depth about the coffee, but I will say this. We're super excited about the impact that each of these beans can do in your life and those around you, and what it's going to do for those that we've partnered with Axum to help those in Africa and parts of Africa that are needing the water source. So, impacting lives through a bag of beans, there's no other better way than doing that.
That's why we call it the Best You Nation, because we're trying to reach every nation and try to improve, like, have some form of improvement in your lives by just generating impact. Without any further ado,
let's do it.
Usually we try to just kind of just identify what's one thing that we did well today, or well this past week, what's something that we need to improve on. And I don't know if you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
So what one thing I did well this past week was I was able to create a whole bunch of content. Was able to just do a photo shoot with my buddy Sean, and definitely check him out. Amazing photos. His Instagram handle is It's Sean J. It's tagged literally on most of my videos, because he did such an excellent job of just recording and filming.
Shout out to Sean.
It's super sharp, super crisp, and an area of improvement that I can identify from the past week is I need to do a better job of prioritizing sleep. Sleep is I think that's the ever fleeting thing, and I kind of ran on fumes until I crashed. So I need to be a little bit better about it. And so this week I'm trying to, before midnight, which is hard, before midnight, be in bed. At least be in bed and don't have like, not be in bed like with the TV on or anything like, but just lay in bed. And that's my goal in order to try to sleep a little bit more is to be in bed by midnight, the absolute latest on every night, even on the days that I'm off.
Perfect.
So that's it for me. How about you, Finn?
So this week I pushed myself to work more hours. It's something that I feel like I've improved. It's easy to stick to the 3 shifts a week and enjoy those 3 weeks. 3 days per week. What am I talking about? But I've pushed myself. I felt like, you know what? I'm ambitious. I want to work, and there's always a reward from working. So I feel like that was one thing I did better, is being more optimistic and seeing it for what it is. Now on the downside of that, obviously, when you work more, you have to find time to rest. And just like you, I can definitely relate. It's finding that extra minute to just say, okay, it's time to wind down. Like I drink tea. I've been drinking tea more often to help me kind of get wound down. It's really interesting how some of these teas like that, that's available. Like I have one that's like a lavender, like sleepy time tea, and it really, really helps me calm down and just kind of destimulate my brain. And that sounds really scientific, but it helps. And I just want to do, that's one improvement that I guess it's my improvements that I need to make, but also it's the thing that I was struggling with this week.
Okay. And I mean, the thing is, and this is why we bring this up, is because everyone has a day-to-day struggle. And so if you get too wrapped up or too consumed by your struggle, then you're not doing enough to just at least create some form of rest in your brain, because your brain is constantly racing, constantly thinking, and constantly doing all these things. But if you don't find something that like identify that you did well, something that you identify as like, all right, you need an improvement, and what did you do that was really good for your overall health? Mm-hmm. And obviously, I know both of us have been working out and consistently just getting after it. But I know for me, I just recently made a trip for Pittsburgh and just came back. So that was something that I did for my own personal life, so that way I can kind of recharge. Oh, yeah. And next week, I'm gonna go to this religious retreat out in Rhode Island, Friday through Sunday. So I'm gonna get a chance to go with my family, get closer with God, and just kind of just recharge like the system all together. So it's just one of those things that's just constantly trying to make sure that you prioritize your mental and spiritual health, because those things tie into everything else that you do.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because we went to Savannah, and that was really, really, really great time to just put everything aside from work and the day-to-day grind and just enjoying our presence together, Cassandra and I, and just enjoying our 1-year anniversary together. It was a really fun time. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but we do have a topic of discussion today. But
we kind of touched on it earlier. The reason why we partnered with Axum is because they generate an impact, and I think that like that's what your job is in life. Your life is meant to be lived not for you, not for yourself, but to be lived for others. And if you're able to impact those around you, then you can create a change. We talk about that spark, that little spark that you create can create a wild forest fire.
Correct.
And you start by just doing the best that you can in your own life, and allowing a lot of other people to come in and take a look and to watch and to see like that consistency, see that growth, see that fire, that passion, see just see you in your element. And that's something that I feel like I don't want to make it seem like it's just bragging, but like it's something that we generally honestly do. And I know I just got reached recently. I had someone reach out. They're a fan of the show, obviously, and also the content that I produce on 24 Hours a Day. Reached out and was saying that they're going through a tough time in their marriage, and being able to kind of listen to us and see the stories that we provide on all of our platforms, and just to kind of get a chance to see those things, that helps give her motivation. And even though she's going through a really, really tough time, she has hope and thinking that things will get better and things will improve. And to me, like it brought a smile to my face, because we don't do the things that we do in order to get those type of stories or those type of reactions. We do the things that we do because we genuinely like to do it, but also knowing that, like, even when people don't say anything, someone's always watching.
That's very true.
And that's the part that, like, it's super surreal, because I hadn't talked to this person like months, but then having her reach out and say, "Hey man, your content has really just helped me out in the last like few months," I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize, and it makes you kind of happy. And I know, Finn, I think like you had a situation with was it a patient or something, or
Yeah, so we kind of briefly touched on it because we planned a little bit. I had an encounter with a patient this past week, and it was a very interesting conversation, and it was very, I don't know, I don't want to say endearing. It really kind of humbled me in a sense, because the patient came in and she was very anxious, and you could tell. I mean, I saw it on her face, and essentially she came in, and sometimes the emergency room gets really, really busy, and we have to utilize hallway beds, and the hallway bed was being used, and she was on the hallway stretcher, and essentially I was coming around the corner with one of the PAs. We were just actually, as a matter of fact, we were chit-chatting about the coffee, and he was telling me he wanted to get some coffee from us, and she kind of like, I don't want to say like, she kind of like very briefly interrupted in a sense, because she was like very anxious, and she was trying to figure out like, hey, like what's the deal? What's taking so long? And now, mind you, she had been there 10 minutes. Now, I know the emergency room is a busy environment. It's a very stressful, very high-paced environment. And I'll be honest with you, like, in that very moment, like, I could tell there was something more than just her being there. She was very anxious for being right in the presence of everybody right there. She kind of wore her sunglasses, and she just kind of had her back towards everybody, but she kind of got off the stretcher. Was like, hey, I just got into this car accident, and like, I'm really anxious, and I have so much going on. And it's just like, in the moment you're thinking maybe it's related to the accident. And quite frankly, it wasn't. There was more to her anxiety. And I was talking to her, and I kind of like joined her and talked to her for about a good like 30, 40 minutes, honestly, which is a long time considering how busy we were. But sometimes it's taking that 30, 40 minutes to sit down with somebody that you don't realize. It's just part of my day-to-day. Like, if you ask anybody, like, I just will talk to anybody, and that's just who I am, because I want to reach out. But we started talking, and she kind of went down this story about how, like, where she had developed her anxiety, and her anxiety came from, her, like, a previous trauma that she had experienced. And for sake of her privacy, I'm not going to say what exactly, but there was, obviously something had happened traumatic in her life. And it really kind of put me in a place where I had to really, I started listening. Like, I was listening, but like, it really made you like internalize for a second. And we started chit-chatting, and I started talking. And sometimes when I'm talking, I realize that I have something to share with the patient, or I have something to share with a family member. I have something to say to a friend, or a coworker, or just about anybody. And one of the things that I realized is that her and I had a lot in common, and it didn't really have to be that the exact scenario. It's the fact that we all have a trauma that we've gone through, or something we've experienced that makes us think, behave, feel, or whatever the way that we do. Mm-hmm. And so just talking to her and listening to her and kind of tangoing back and forth with that, we were talking about her, like, my book, and how she had written 2 books already and just hasn't done anything with it because, she didn't feel like she was worthy enough. And that kind of goes back to why she was so anxious and why she was afraid. She didn't want to be on that wall because she felt like, everybody kind of was looking at her and staring at her. And for her, that was a more humiliating than her being in an actual room, which we didn't really know at first. You coming from an accident on the road.
Yeah,
it rained outside. So what I'm getting back to, like, in general, the whole concept is that she had left. I was leaving for my end of my shift, and she was being discharged kind of around the same time, and I had kind of my final sweep around through the green zone, and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna finish my books." I said, "Oh, that's awesome. Like, I want you to finish your books."
That's
good.
And
it's like crazy because I don't even know her like that, but she said, "I just want you to know, like, you sharing your story with me today, and you being like taking the time to talk to me, it really helped me calm down and realize that I can do anything I want to do, and I'm going to go finish my books, and I appreciate you. And I'm not saying, like you said, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm not saying that because
No,
it's about
of
me,
course
but
not.
it's, you don't know how you can impact somebody. And as simple as just sitting down and giving 2 cents of time and finding a simple motivation through your own journey. I just hope that she publishes her books in the next time that, maybe we run into each other. But I don't want to continue sharing too much because I feel like you want to say something.
Oh,
But I just wanted that to kind of be known. Like, your impact is measured differently from each person, but you never know. Like you, Adler had said, you never know who's watching and who might be feeling that, wow, he talked to that patient that way. I really feel like I can do this. Like, you never know. Someone else could be going through some detrimental situation and just overhears you talking the way that you are to create an impact.
yeah.
And realize you might have just saved somebody from committing suicide. I mean, to an extreme. Obviously, it's a very extreme situation.
That's true.
So,
Well, I think that it's one of those things where, like, you don't go seeking it, and then all of a sudden it just kind of puts itself in your radar, and so now you're presented with opportunity to impact somebody's life, and you just hope and pray that you can, do and say the right things. But at the end of the day, you don't know that. There's nothing to guarantee that you will do or say the right things, or you will attract like all the right people. But when you do find somebody, identify it, and clearly, I don't know, when you do find somebody that like you're just like, there's an instant connection, and you can't explain why there's an instant connection. It just kind of just starts happening. You guys get a chance to like go back and forth and share stories. That's where the impact starts to develop. Starts to grow, and based off of your interaction, that helps shape the idea of what the person starts to come up with for you. Like, what's the impression? Like
an impression.
Your impression now is made from that interaction, and based off of that impression, going forward, what you guys discuss, what you guys go through, whatever emotions, whatever it is, can be tools to help levitate and motivate themselves.
It opens doors.
Exactly.
It really opens doors. Like, I mean, I feel like you have a lot of stories that you can share. I think we were talking about off air. You were talking about somebody that is following your fitness model right now.
Well,
and people who who are significantly motivated, and then there's some that unfortunately are not ready to be motivated.
Yeah. So here I just recently made like 6 different workout plans, right? And 5 out of the 6 are progressing very well, and then that's that one, and I'm thinking of like, all right, how can I be a better leader? How can I be a better motivator? How can I be a better coach? Like, what can I do? What can I say in terms of like getting engagement? And it's now, I'll be honest, like when you're using like the obviously natural human interaction, you get a little frustrated, and you get frustrated because it's like, all right, hey, I gave you the keys. You have now the keys to everything that I have. You're doing the exact same type of workouts that I've done before. I'm doing. And you have like my meal plan. You have the keys to getting exactly where you want to be, and it's like frustrating because it's like, all right, if you have the keys, then it's time to produce. And I have one girl that I've been working with since the end of April, beginning of March or May. Beginning of May, end of April, and she's doing very well. Like, dropped like 14 pounds. I have
Impressive.
I have a really close friend of mine. Well, I can say his name, Alex. He always texts me early in the morning. He's like, "Hey, bro, I'm trying to get like you. I'm working on it," and I love it because one, it challenges me, but also like I know that he's working on improving himself, and none of these people like realize I didn't really necessarily do anything. I just more so gave you the tools that you need in order to make a change, and they decided to make their change in their own way.
I think that when you look back on the entirety of your life, at one point, right, as a child, you look up to your teachers, to your parents. You look up to people that are in our like our society that have an impact. And I used to ask myself, like, how is it that people in a societal perspective, like some of the best musicians that are out there, how have they influenced us to simply be engaged to their music or engaged to their art or engaged with the way that they do certain things? This is a really silly example, but I'm just gonna use this. But it's funny because as a kid, with all due respect to all the guys out there, I remember when and this is a little weird. It's like sixth grade, but like Justin Bieber, right? Who had really long hair, and I remember all the guys used to grow their hair out, like, and to flick it to the left, and flick it to the right, and it's like all he did is just grow his hair out. Right, like as simple as growing his hair out, and it was a look. And then
it's the same thing that people are doing with that Top Gun thing now too. The Maverick look with the mustache.
With the mustache, and they're sitting in the car like I did on my little reel. Like you start in your car, like you're starting a plane, and it's really developing a. You want to be like it's. I don't want to say that you're trying to mimic or mock or not even mock. Mock's not the right word. You're not trying to replicate, but you are. You're engaged with how somebody you're inspired by, and you want to kind of walk in those similar footsteps. And I know it's like I said, it's a silly example using Justin Bieber, but I do remember when I tried to do that, and I just got frustrated because my hair would not grow fast enough, and it's a pattern. I don't know if you can tell, but it comes down to realizing that when you come into reality, how much of an impact people have and how much an impact we have. I think sometimes I don't realize how much of a impact I have on somebody, just as simple as talking about something like, hey, being in an environment like on the phones. Sometimes as a secretary, I answer the phones, and you never know what someone's going through, and just being understanding, right? And one thing I think we really kind of talked about, there's two boys that I actually helped mentor, and I think this is a really important part. This is probably one of the best parts of my life, when I was able to watch two Ethiopian boys grow to become the men that they are. One of them just actually graduated from performing arts school, or at least finished his first year at performing arts school in South Carolina, and he is phenomenal. He has his own business now. I mean, he's 19 or 20 now, and he has his own wedding photography business. He's telling me about it the other day, or a couple weeks ago actually. And then the other one is in the Army, and he's doing really, really well. And these two boys were adopted from Ethiopia. They both came from two complete different tribes. And it's just a crazy thing, because I know how angry they were, how upset that they were. They had a language barrier. They couldn't speak English the way that they wanted to. And so I just think about this, and this is from a personal perspective, like, where in my life did I say that I was going to dedicate my time to these young men to help them see the potential that they have? And it's like stuff like that. And now that I look back on it, I'm like, I didn't sign a contract. It's just because I was so genuinely passionate about helping these young guys find. And I didn't do anything grand. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't do anything like that was like spectacular. It was just like, hey, you guys want to learn how to drive? Fine. Here's my keys to my car. Learn to drive. Hey, let's go out and go just have a guy day, and just go screw off and go get ice cream or something. And as silly as that sounds, I can't speak for them, but I feel like oftentimes I get a text message from them just saying, hey, thanks for, believing in us, or thanks for supporting us, and, just being you. And I think it's the little things in life that add up. It's like a cup of water and the drop. Over time, that entire cup will be filled with water. And so sometimes it's the little things that we do, the little things we say, like you training people and teaching people how to get their fitness goals together. People struggle. I've struggled. I still struggle occasionally.
Of course. Well, and I mean, like, it's not one of those things that's like, I guess it's never easy, but you do what you have to do in order to accomplish what you need to accomplish, and be that impact, that change for those around you. And so I think there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into it, and there's like a lot of like just being able to give up on certain things, you know, not necessarily like I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is like when you get a chance to like have a good conversation, and it's just something that hits home, right? Now it's something that it's in the forefront of your brain, and now you're trying to tweak and change your life, and you're trying to make it more malleable to that thought process, right? So like for example, I met somebody just recently who was telling me how he raised 6 kids on like a $30,000 like salary. $30,000. That blows my mind. Like
That's like how much I make.
And he raised 6 kids, single income home, and like I'm my mind is like blown. I'm just thinking to myself like, how on earth did you do that, man? That's so different. That's so sophisticated. How like what did you do? And like he said, we made our ends meet. So my wife would garden. My wife would, obviously feed the kids, and we get like hand me downs, and we just find a way to make it work. And for me, right, he impacted my life without even realizing it. Because I've always had this thought process of I need to accomplish this milestone and accomplish this milestone before I can ever get married. And now, like having that whole entire conversation, I'm realizing that it doesn't necessarily have to be how I quote unquote plan it out. Sometimes you just have to go and allow God to kind of just work, instead of always trying to grab that steering wheel. Like let's say I'm in a passenger seat and I'm sitting on the right hand side, and the driver's in the driver's seat. That's God, and they got the hand in the wheel. And instead of me from the passenger seat being like, "Hey, God, make it right, make it right," instead of grabbing the wheel, let Him take me where I need to go. And understanding that, like that was a lesson that I pulled from Him, and He impacted me, and He has no idea. He has no idea. Like in my head, I was like, "Wow, I can't believe that." And so now I'm trying to implement that in different ways in my life, whether it be like, with investment property, or stocks, or with work, or with whatever. I just now I'm trying my best to, instead of like try to like, oh, I have to have this, and I won't budge, to be a little bit more flexible, to be a little bit more malleable, to be a little bit more, I guess, like having that rubber band mentality, where a rubber band's not really being used unless it's being stretched, and getting uncomfortable so that way you can get to that next level. And that impacted me. That's something that I'm going to hold near and dear to my heart for the rest of my life. And long story short, that 30,000 salary went from 30,000 to 80 to going and going and going. And now he's able to live a more comfortable lifestyle, especially now the kids are starting to graduate and like get on their own. So like
very inspirational story.
That right there, to me, like you don't realize who's listening and how people are interpreting what you're saying. And I think that's the most important. Like I guess that's the thing that I pull the most, is people interpret what you say and what you do in a different way than what you even like realize. And so you have to be very mindful of what you say and what you do and when you do it.
That's very true.
Like it's, and like I know it seems like so silly, and I hope I'm not like, I hope I'm making sense.
Dude,
like
you're making.
I hope I'm making
sense.
sense.
I think that's the thing though. Like people don't realize like it's your like thought process may not always be everybody's thought process, or you may not have the same feelings about things, but the people that you inspire, they may not always tell you. It's just how they live out their life. Like the people that I've been inspired by, I'm going to give you a really, really crazy example. And this is going to be so basic, but just as simple. Zach and I went to a soccer game. We watched one of the world-class teams, Arsenal, from the Premier League, if you follow soccer. I've never watched such a unique game. They played against
the red
Orlando
team.
City.
It was the red team.
It was.
Yes.
And I watched Orlando City, which I was very blown away by how supportive our city is for this wonderful MLS team, which I actually establish a bit of a support for this MLS team, because it's, hey, we have a pretty good soccer team here in our local area. But the point that I was trying to say here is, obviously our air date is today compared to when it actually releases. But you know where Zach and I were this morning?
Where?
We were at the field playing soccer. And yesterday we were chit-chatting, like, bro, let's go play soccer. Because he kept saying, dude, you ever get that pump from just, like, watching a soccer game? He's like, I bet you're going to feel like wanting to play soccer tomorrow. And lo and behold, we were at the field for about 2.5, 3 hours, just kicking the ball and kicking at the goal and running after the ball and the hot heat here in Florida.
And you could do it for hours and hours on end.
But I was so, I was motivated by and moved and impacted by that. Because you know what? I grew up playing soccer. I lost a little bit of that momentum. And, man, let me tell you something. The reason I share that is the same way that we want people to be. And it's not just about what we're doing. It's about what you're doing. And when it's not for other people, so to speak. And when I say that, I mean, don't do it to impress people. Do it to impact people. Because impressing people with what you're doing is less valuable and is not going to be acknowledged the same way as if you do it to impact people. Don't be selfish. Be selfless. When you do it selflessly, like Christ did, Christ didn't just go over and heal the leprosy and the person with leprosy or the blind man or the sick to be like, hey, look at me, I can do this. I mean, he could have done it that way, but he genuinely went over there because he was showing that, hey, you can believe in me. I'm going to take care of you. He went over there and healed people because healing is a process. But yes, Jesus did that. And what I'm saying is, if we're supposed to live the way that Christ would want us to live in his footsteps, then we need to do so too. You may not like somebody. You may not acknowledge people. You may not see yourself being somebody that can impact, but believe me, you have some sort of impact on somebody. Somebody else out there may not like your Instagram post, but actually is needing your Instagram post.
Yeah.
That right there, I think we actually talked about this. It's not about how many likes you get on a photo, because I think we just kind of talked about this, like the engagement. You know, there is just a multitude of amount of people who see your post. Instagram tracks that. It lets you know that 5,000 people have seen. And you have said this in the mornings, like, hey, I post a reel that I put so much time and effort into. And it's like, man, I only get like 5 likes and like 200 views. But those 200 people, out of those 200 people, I guarantee you there was always at least one person made it to the next day because they were like, you know what, Adler's right. His video inspired me to be the best version of myself, and I'm just gonna top it off like that and do a mic drop, and I'm done with that.
And I think it's funny because it's like, even though like you spend a lot of time and a lot of effort in putting out that video, and then it only gets like you know I don't know 10, 20 likes, and then all of a sudden you look at like the views, it's like 200. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. But meanwhile, I'll put up like something I think is like trivial and meaningless. And then like, I think last week it happened where I hit like 11,000, almost close to 12,000 like views. And then if you look at the ratio, it's only like 500 likes. And so it's just like, out of all those people who looked at it, only
12,000 people.
Only 500 actually liked it.
But,
and so if you're looking at it like in terms of, okay, well, ratio, it does not equal. All right, you're right, it doesn't equal itself out or balance itself out. But the most important part is that no matter whether it's good, no matter whether it's bad, whether it's 10 views or 1,000 views, I'm still producing and still putting out there, because you never know who might need to hear that message or who might need to see that video. And you know, you can impact people in ways that you don't even realize. Like, I have to give a real quick shout out to Dre, my buddy Dre. He's dropped I think 16 pounds, somewhere around there, and he's starting to see the top 2 like abs like work like start to come in. I've created a home gym, and you know, he frequently goes there. I'm gonna have to actually start charging him a membership actually. But he's consistently over there. Sometimes I'll get off of work and, you know, he's working out. He's, you know, doing his thing. And sometimes we'll actually get a chance to work out together. But he's been able to consistently do that. And he's been able to, you know, make that impact. I got to also give a shout out to my buddy Alex, because Alex was able to.
60 pounds?
He's dropped 60 pounds.
That's a lot.
In like the last
man.
like
Proud of
6-7 months, something like that. And he just started just switching up his habits, and like he hit me up and he's like, bro, I'm trying to get like you. And like each person is gonna say, oh hey, I'm trying to get like you, man, you gave me a da 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 da. But in all actuality, I didn't do anything. All I did was just do exactly what I've always done and just stay consistent at it. And that consistency inspired those around you, and that's causing a change in both their lives. More confidence, more just feeling better and good about themselves. And I think that's really what it's about. So whether or not I ever reach 10,000 people, it doesn't matter. The people around me, the people around us, we're impacting. We're starting a small fire amongst us. So instead of having a forest fire, that's okay. I'll settle for a campfire. I'm good with that.
We're at a campfire level, and that's okay. You know why? Campfires are much cozier, a lot more exciting when there's a lot less. You know why? Because I like sitting around that campfire.
With marshmallows. And the marshmallow stick. Yes, I had to bring that up. And for those of you that don't know about the marshmallow stick, you need to go back to season 1.
Season 1.
Because Finn goes like, there's like a 5-minute like detailed. It's.
Honestly, I don't even know how that conversation.
I don't understand how it went either.
Was it you, Henley, and I were talking about?
I don't remember, man.
It was. It was talking about emotions versus feelings. Or emotions versus thoughts.
And then just like it was like a.
Oh yeah, you get a poke with a marshmallow stick.
Yes, that's what it was.
It's something. What? Who knows?
Something about like poking the coals to. I don't know, but either way, that this was a impactful conversation, very meaningful, and yeah, that's what we do. And we have like here at the Best You Nation, we just try to make sure that we have these emotionally emotionally intelligent conversations that can impact those around us, my life, your life, and everywhere else. It starts that little like blaze of fire. And we're super grateful that we have this platform, and super grateful that you take the time to listen to us, to watch us, to support us. It's been 2 years and counting, and we're trying to grow and continue doing big things. We have the coffee up, so definitely check out TBYN Worldwide. And definitely take a look at the coffee. I think what was it like 2 for 1 or
no? It's two. If you buy 2 bags, shipping's free.
2 bags.
So anytime you buy 2,
boom,
your shipping is right there. Just cut. It's on the house.
Yes.
Take care of it for you.
So definitely check out the coffee. Definitely check us out on Instagram. 24 hours in a day. The Best You Nation. The Finn Foster. Check us out on anywhere that you can find a podcast, between Spotify, Apple, YouTube. It doesn't matter.
Video will only be on YouTube. So from now on,
yes,
if you're gonna watch us,
that's the change.
Listen, go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. If you want to see
if Finn is growing out his beard, you need to come on YouTube and watch us every single week. That being said, we appreciate you. We love you. We hope you all have a blessed week.